Hello, everyone. Welcome, Robin and Athena. We're back again. Today, we want to talk about judgment, and we actually have someone that has a question. I'll read that if Athena wants to start off with maybe trying to give her an answer to that question.
We think it is a good place to start, Heidi. Go right ahead and read a summary basically on the question, and make a note in your mind that the answer that we are going to give applies to many of the same circumstances or situations that humans would ask us about.
Yes, yes. Okay. So this listener was wondering about someone like Scott Peterson a while back. If anybody remembers, he's the young man that murdered his wife and children. She said that he was described as a golden child, a sports star. He had parents that adored him, but inevitably he killed his wife and children. And she would like to know how he arrived at this point to to do such an act.
Yes. We are not going to talk particular about this one, but we are going to talk about anyone who commits acts that humans deem as atrocities, or things that are unthinkable, unspeakable, things that many humans have a judgment about. And once again, Heidi, as you know, we are headed down that road of judgment. We are looking at someone from the outside, and we are surmising and deciding by what he is giving us or showing to us in the life experience that he is having, something that we are against or not in agreement with. Now, we're never going to sit here and tell a human that this is something that they should agree with, but what we are going to tell you is there's nothing you're going to do about it, and that your focus upon it is now something that is taking your precious focus and time away from what you could be adding to your universe as you view something that you are not wanting or liking in your own life. But if we were to explain to you a little bit once again that we have talked to you about triggers. We have talked to you about humans coming onto the earth plane, sometimes taking on things that they want to work on that are within themselves, that perhaps they have experienced in past lives. You know not who the ancestry of this one is, and we would have to dig a great deal back in to find all of the things, yes? But all of this is a contributing factor to the way that a human moves within their life. And we are never going to not agree with you that something appears to be ghastly, that something appears to be wrong, that you are not liking. We will give you this, but we are going to tell you that as you focus upon it, you are now the attractor or the person that is in alignment to more such news or stories or things that are going to be coming across your plate. And we would tell you that any of you humans that are listening to your news, that are watching your TV, this is most of what you are going to hear as you are viewed upon it. And if you are an emotional being, if you are one that is greatly affected by what you are feeding yourself or taking into your body in the form of observation, then you should be careful about what it is that you view, because this is not necessarily a healthy practice for you to be in. We really want you to understand that when a human becomes triggered, there are many things that activate him. It is not just in this life. It can be in the past lives that he has lived. It could be from the lineage, from something that they have carried for a lifetime. And then even the expectations that others put on them. He was raised in money. He had everything to be perfect. He should be perfect. And we're going to tell you right now, this is an added pressure to a human when they are raised in this type of environment where there's this expectation or idea that somehow you're not going to do anything wrong and you're going to be this perfect human being because you've had everything laid before you in perfection, you see. And you, Heidi, would probably be one that would agree with us that there are many who live what seemingly seem to be perfect lives. They have lots of money, they have loving family members, and yet they commit suicide or they also commit acts against others. Would you agree that this is the case?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would.
Yes. So for us to determine exactly what it is that caused this particular person to do what it is he has done would require a great deal of investigation into his past and maybe even into him if he were willing to speak about it, you see. But the one thing we want to make a point of is that we in all that is emanate from love. And what is love? Love is joy, excitement, happiness, everything that makes you feel good. You call it love, but really it is this uplifted energy level that all positive emotions emanate from. You see, that's what love is. And what we are doing in all that is we are connected to each of you in your experiences that you are having. And as you are releasing a charge, that's what it is. Every time you have an experience, we're getting a charge of energy. You might be mad, you might be enraged, you might be a murderer, you might be a lover, you might be anything that you could ever imagine. And what you need to imagine is what kind of energy or charge or feeling of emotion is being emitted to all that is. And all that is has no other way of receiving it but in love. And everything that comes in the form of energy is transmuted in by love. It is raised to the greater desire. It is why atrocities have such a impact, really, in positivity upon your world. As all the people are shouting for a better world, as they are wanting prices to go down, as they are wanting better things to be occurring upon the earth plane, there is this snowball that is amassing in all that is to the greater, better, more loving degree of what the humans in their pain are calling for. So we want you to really understand what happens when an atrocity occurs is there is a huge charge of energy that is transmitted to all that is, and we simply transform it in love to the closest match of what you are sending in its match, you see. Does it make sense to you, Heidi?
It does. Yes.
Yeah. It's why we say there's no good and bad, no right and wrong. And you humans are going to keep digging around. Well, surely now you have found something. Now you have found someone that this does not apply to. A man that has been raised very well. A man that had a lot of money. A man that was successful. A man that had a beautiful wife and children. And then he just decided to murder them. Certainly you're going to catch us in one now, aren't you? And what we're going to tell you is you're never going to catch us in your judgment of another. And we don't care how horrific it is, because you are a sovereign being, an individual creator. And the minute you give that up and you join the masses, now you are attractive quality to that. Now you are not a sovereign being, and you are not creating the universe that is you for you, and you are not adding, hear this, to all that is anything that is any benefit to anyone, you see.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So by what you said there, I think you answered my opening question that I was going to have, but we'll just kind of just paraphrase it. Many, or should I say most people, do see right and wrong, good and bad. And you say from spirit, it's just an experience and a charge of energy being dropped.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This is what it is. It is, we are connected to the human that is having the experience in all that is. We are connected to it. And that is why we would say you viewing another person or their life experience could never know, really. You could never know that person. And we would tell you that even your husband, your children, your mother, your father, they don't totally know you. Only you and all that is knows you. Now,
Right.
We would ask you, Heidi, to reveal yourself before us. If we were to ask you the question right now, are there things that you hold within yourself that are between just you and you?
Yeah, I'm sure everyone does.
Absolutely, you see. And we are telling you that even though this scenario of this man appeared to be everything that was right, there was much wrong between him and him, you see. And so this is what humans have to understand. You cannot fall into judgment. You cannot know another. We talked about in a previous recording about a man that Robin and Dave had known who was an upstanding person that was taking care of 2 high school children, and he ended up having a stroke and some bad things happened to him. Yes. And Robin's son was asking, why would such a thing occur to such a nice man? And we said, because this was the way the universe was perceiving him in threat energy. He felt as though others were out to get him. Yes, they were forcing him to be vaccinated. They were forcing him to do things he didn't want to do, and he lost his job because of it. And so he started to project or to perceive, we've used that term before, his universe as a place that was against him, you see, and it turned against him. This is what happens when you perceive this way. Now, we want humans to really understand that what are you doing? You are perceiving the universe from your individual perspective. And the minute you look outside of your own perspective at what someone else is doing, what someone else is saying, how you are influenced by what they think about you, now you have given up your sovereignty. We want you to get back into it. We want you to know that this is the only way, hear that, only way to get the changes in the world that you are wanting is by holding your precious focus upon the things that you are wanting to see. You are never, never going to get what it is you want to see by your pushing against, by your idea that you are right, by the idea that you are judging someone and they are wrong. This will yield you only same of the one you are against.
Yes. Yes. So, how would you answer the question, or what would you say about how judgment ties into ethics and morality? So, for instance, someone might be talking about so and so sleeping around, or
Mhm.
this person using drugs, or this
Yeah.
person abandoned their child. And your ethics and morality, or at least what we're taught in our country, would be that these things are wrong.
Yes.
Um,
Hmm.
what would you have to say about that?
We would have a few people raising their eyebrow at our response to that. And we would tell you that anybody that is doing anything and feeling good as they are doing it, they're okay, you see. It's not for you to decide. It's a charge of energy. You have to remember this. There is no right and wrong. You have developed a code of ethics, which you stand to, which you are in judgment of if others do not fall into place of it, you see. But we would tell you that a human has their own guidance system. They don't need your ethics. They don't need you to direct them on their morality. They have a guidance system. They have a thing or a place within them that lets them know by the way that they are feeling whether what they are doing is in alignment with them or not, you see. And what you are saying is, in this morality and in this ethics that you humans have determined for others, they are now outside of your direction, your ethics, and your morality. We would tell humans to keep your nose in your own business. We would tell you to keep your focus on what you want to see in the world, and this will be the dominant theme you will see. You see, you won't need to worry about people sleeping around. You won't need to worry about people murdering people or doing things that are not wrong. If you're not focused upon it, it is not going to be part of your experience. You're not going to be viewing it. You're not going to be watching it. You're not going to be talking about it. It's not going to be happening within your own circle, you see. The only reason you are reading the article or you are seeing this, it is because you have opposition energy towards it. If you have your morality and you have your ethics, it is fine for you to hold yourself to it. But when you decide that you're going to hold others to it in your judgment of them, guess what? Now you have a problem, you see, because now it isn't about morals and ethic anymore. Now it's about control. Now it's about right and wrong. Now it's about you being higher than, better than, knowing better for another, you see.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
When are you going to get it? Not you, Heidi. We're talking to everyone out there, that you are sovereign beings. Sovereignty, look it up, people. It means that you individually hold a focus for what you want to see. And if there's something that you don't want to see, then you're focusing on somebody else's focus.
Right, right. I think a place where people can get hung up is um, judgment versus preference. Like I prefer to have a scheduled life. I like to be active. Think different things. And if someone said to me, well, um, you should do this, or maybe I even thought it myself, and I would think, well, no, I don't want to do that. That doesn't feel right for me. And so someone could say, I'm judging something without trying or whatever, but in a sense, you kind of know what feels good to you and what doesn't. So if someone isn't clear on knowing their preferences versus getting confused that it's a judgment,
You
how
will
would
always
they have
know
a
the difference by how you're feeling, you see. If you have a preference, you're going to choose it and feel good. But if you're having a judgment, you're going to feel controlling. You're going to feel dominant. You're going to feel pushy. You're not going to feel good as you try to enforce it upon another. If you
yeah,
are having a preference, I like that. That's how I'm going to do it. I like to get up early. I like to exercise right away as I get up, you see. And it is fine for you to impose this upon yourself. But now your friend calls you in the afternoon and she says, oh, I wish I would have exercised, but I'm not one to get up in the morning. And you say to her, well, I would tell you one thing. If you would do it how I do it, if you would get up early in the morning and get to your exercise right away like I do, then you wouldn't have the problem you are having, you see. Now, right away, this one's going to move into defense. They're going to move into this feeling of being dominated or controlled by you, you see. And this is the difference between what we would call a preference and then this judgment that you are speaking about.
Mm-hmm.
A preference is deciding for oneself, and a judgment is deciding for others. There it is, summed
Yes.
up.
That's a good one. That helps to clarify, I think, for a lot of people, the difference.
We like that statement because that covers it all. You see, the
Yeah.
minute you're watching somebody else, the minute you're thinking about somebody else, the minute you have your nose in somebody else's business, you are in judgment.
And I would also like to just clarify for everyone else and myself, I think I have this right, but correct me if I'm wrong, that each human does have their own right and wrong, their own what feels good, what feels bad. And that's okay. It's just we can't have it for someone else, correct?
Absolutely, provided you are not in self-condemnation, you see, provided you feel good about the preference that you have, provided that another doesn't speak to you or interject something about your preference that makes you now change your preference because of it, because then you won't feel good, you see. It's
Right.
by you really knowing your guidance system. I know this is for me. I like it. Yes, I have
Yeah.
made this choice. It is sticking. It is mine. I love it. Yes. But
Mhm.
then you have this choice, and perhaps someone else comes along and they make fun of your choice, or they tell you that this is the reason they would not have it, you see.
Right.
And this is what happens. We had a little discussion the other day. Robin's husband is avid hunter and gun owner, and we know that there are many who are against the ownership of guns and such, yes?
Mhm.
And so once in a while, he will run into one who will make a comment that guns should be outlawed, and he will get very upset about it because he feels from his experience, from his lineage, from having parents and grandparents who were part of warring, who actually experienced what it was like to not have freedom, he feels this is a vital violation of his rights, you see. And so when one imposes their opinion now, as they already have this freedom that was fought for, as they already have this sovereignty that they are allowed to live in the world as free beings in your United States, yes, they don't have the same vantage point as he does. The parents that he has were not the warring parents. They do not have the lineage or the experience that he is necessarily carrying. So this is where one needs to be careful and be honoring. Hear this, you need to honor others in what their preferences are, because you know not what their lineage past is and what their experiences have been that have formed the preferences they have. And they are not just going to change them because you tell them now that they have to, you see.
Right. Yeah.
Now, you can hold your focus on a new world that doesn't require firearms, that doesn't require warring. This is how you get it, but you don't get it at going to war with people who believe that war exists.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there's a lot of people out there that subscribe to the belief that when we pass, there's a judgment day, that we have to have our life reviewed and judged if we did a good job, bad job. Um, you want to talk about that a little bit and what, in your opinion, actually happens when
Yes.
someone passes?
There is a life review, and the life review is based upon the belief system or the perceptions that you have experienced during the life you have lived. You see, if you have one that has succumbed to guilt, if you have believed you are a bugger, yes, if you have believed that you are somehow flawed or at fault or have done wrongdoing in your life, then this will be the view or picture that you are given upon the day that you leave the earth plane. You see, you are the creator up to the day you die and then the day after. You see, everything that you have in your life experience and that you will ever have is because of the thoughts, the beliefs, and the perceptions that you hold. You see, if you want to have a wonderful picture, a wonderful movie of the life that you have lived, then this is the view you should hold. You see, there's nothing that is condemning. There's nothing that should be judged. There's nothing that you've done wrong. And we know that all you humans will stand out there before us today and say, I cheated on my wife. Yes, I skipped out of school. I stole something at the store, whatever it is that you did. You see, you were an experiencer. You had your lineages. You had your life experiences that caused you to have a response to the life that you were living. And we want you to just let it go. We want you to know that in the plane of density that you live, there's going to be negativity or what you deem as contrast or the bullwhip, whatever you feel comfortable calling it, and that nobody is free of it, that nobody's perfect. There's no one that's living their life and not making mistakes. There's no one that's not having an ill thought now and then or doing something that they would deem as imperfect. But what we really want you to understand that this is why you came, so that you could learn from your mistakes, so that you could decide to choose differently by the negative emotion that you felt or feel as you are moving in directions that are not necessarily to your benefit or to your positive growth as you humans would put it. But some of you need those experiences. You need those feelings. You need those moments of perception of yourself in a flawed way. Let's use that term, because this is how you change. This is how you grow and how you learn. And once you really accept this fact in yourself and in everyone, you'll be better for it, you see. There's no God that is going to condemn you. There's no one that's going to be shaking their finger at you or pointing you out before everyone as one who has lived a crap life. This is a fallacy that we think has been implemented in the dogma of many of your religions to try to keep you doing things as the masses would prefer that you did them, you see.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So really, just like every other thing in your life that you're supposed to let kind of flow through you, the negative experiences, just let them flow through you.
Yes.
It's kind of the same thing when you're passing, like just your acknowledgement of it is enough.
Yes.
And just letting it flow through
Yes.
actually is to your benefit and not to carry so much of that with you.
Absolutely. Or you'll carry it right back in with you into another existence, wherever you may choose to go, you see. The best thing that you can do is put a smile on your face as you see the view of your life, as you watch the magnificence really of being born, of living, of experiencing, of marrying, of having children, of running businesses, of becoming professions of all sorts, you see. When you watch this view, you should be in awe of it, not judgment of it. This is the way that your creator would want you to experience it, you see.
Mm-hmm. So we would, like, if we hearing this message today, if we were people who thought, okay, yes, this is what we're going to do when we die. We're going to sit through this movie or whatever it is with a smile on our face. Will we remember that
Yes, you
when
will.
we
We
actually?
would tell you something. Many people ask us of the devil, of evil, of all of the burning in hell, whatever it is that they have focused upon. And we would tell you, you have the ability to create that which you focus upon. We have said it over and over. We're going to say it again. You have the ability to create the ending that you focus upon.
Mm-hmm.
See?
Okay.
Let it be joyful. Let it be celebrational. Let it be something that you are proud of, even, you see. This is what you have the ability to do. Why would you do anything else? Because someone else has told you to. If you went with your own gut, if you went with your own knowing, if you went with your own guidance system, this is what you would do, you see.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We would
That's
tell you to go like this, you see.
yeah. Yeah, it's good information.
Yes. We're just
So
ripping through the questions today, aren't we, Heidi?
yeah, you're on the spot today.
Hmm.
So how does somebody who feels they're in judgment a lot, how do they start to move themselves away from judgment state to more allowing? Because at first, I would imagine if you're very into judgment,
Mhm.
it would feel like a very resented or frictional state to
Mhm.
try to let something go when you're somebody who's been bothered by a lot of things or very
Yeah.
often bothered by something. So what would you suggest they do to try to move themselves to more allowing states?
We would say this for judgment and really for any negative emotion that a human finds themselves trapped in, that they recognize they have become the human. You heard us use this term before. Becoming the human means separation. It means that you have somehow temporarily lowered, not totally disconnected, but separated yourself from the source, from all that is, of which you emanate from, you see. And so there's only one way that a human can get to the place or point that they want to in the production of themselves, and that is to invite or to ask. You've heard this term before, this terminology. And Heidi, we're going to use the example of when you and Robin started to do the recording. You were both using a lot of ums, and you thought, boy, that doesn't sound very professional. We need to cut that out. And so try as you may to cut it out. It was difficult to do. And then the suggestion was made, let's invite the high self in before we start the production, and then see how it goes from there. And Heidi, I think you would agree that the ums greatly disintegrated or almost completely went away, you see. And that is because you were joined then by this source, by this energy that has the ability to transform you into anything that you are asking for, you see. So we would tell you, if you're struggling with judgment, you are in a detached state of being. And so ask the high self to join you. Ask for some assistance or help. I am in this state of judgment. I can feel it. I don't like it. It is feeling negative. I am wanting to get out of it. I'm having difficulty with it, you see. see. And as you relax into this idea that you have now asked, and now you have the belief that you will receive. Did you receive, Heidi, when you asked the ums to slow up or to stop?
Yeah, I think I felt a little bit more of a sense of peace or relaxing, like a
Yes.
little less nervous energy.
Yes, and this is exactly what will happen. And what will occur is as you accept your power, and this is what you are really doing, as you decide to believe that you are a God, that you are the creator that we have told you that you are, now you can relax into the belief and knowing that I have asked. And when I ask, because I am the creator, I get what I ask for. And when you believe, now you receive. And then you will turn around and wonder, where did that judgment go? Where did all those feelings of negativity that I was struggling with go? They will be disintegrated. It will be so effortless. It is not the human that is doing it. It is the source that is doing it.
Yeah. So, uh, just as it's kind of like a fringy outside question. So, sometimes I have this sense when someone is negative or will be a negative influence on my life, I kind of have this feeling, this knowing, and I try to get away from it.
Yes.
And I suppose that could be viewed as a judgment. I'm not necessarily saying anything other than maybe say to my husband, hey, I don't like the vibe I get off of this person.
Yes.
I think we should not do business with them or whatever.
Yes. Yes.
But so how do you see that? Do you see that as a
We
judgment,
would
or do you think?
categorize this not so much as a judgment, but as an energy perception. Every human has the ability to perceive energy or energy that is surrounding them, coming before them, you see.
Mhm.
And how they perceive energy is based upon the energy that they emanate from, you see. So as you come in front of one who is not close to you in the vibratory level that you hold, you are signaled or signed. This is not a match to me, you see. We're never going to tell every human that every human is for them. They are not, you see. You are here as joy seekers, happiness beings. And it is not for you to feel as though every energy is going to be forced upon you. Because in this forcing of trying to put two energies together that are not close or not matching, one or the other could be greatly affected in this process, you see. We always tell a human that the most important thing is your own vessel, your own energy system, and you are to protect it at all costs. And so simply, rather than looking at yourself and shaming yourself a little bit and thinking that you are being judged, we would really pat yourself on the back and say, this one is not an energy match to me. Does it mean that you are not in love? It does not. Does it mean as though you are judging the one as being bad? It does not. It means that you have found that this one is not in alignment to you. It is not the same charge or type of energy that you are emanating from at the point that you are meeting them, you see. It could change. Maybe they're having a bad day, whatever it is. But I think that it would serve you greatly, Heidi, that you could just really pat yourself on the back for being the good perceiver that you are, because this is why you are here. Once again, we are back to why you are a human. You are an experiencer. You cannot be a better experiencer than be an energy reader, a perceiver. Of course, you want to surround yourself with those that make you feel good, that make you feel happy, that are looking for the best in you so that you can give the best back to them. Why would you align yourself to something that is not serving you up what you are wanting to eat?
Right, right. So would you say that those that have the most difficulty with judgment are judging themselves very harshly? Or do you think that there are people out there that are just strictly judging others and okay with themselves?
We know you have heard the terminology that everything begins within. It comes from you
Mhm.
first, yes? And so if a human is not totally accepting of themselves, if they are demanding 100% of perfection, if they have morality, ethics that have been drilled into them, pounded into them, it's not always their fault. Sometimes it is the upbringing or the thing that they have been raised with that contribute to some of the views or controlling points that they have within them. But what we would tell you is, in answer to your question, you're looking for the best way to phrase it to you. They are judging themselves. They are more than judgment. There is a lower feeling about themselves. And as they compare themselves and find the wrongdoing in another, they can balance this by thinking that one is lower than I am. I'm not so bad. Yes?
Mhm.
This is what a human is doing in their judgment. Look at that one. They are cheating. They are running around doing this or that. Look at me. I don't do that. Yes. I am a good wife or a good partner, however you would want to deem it. And so there is always this measuring up or this determining their worth by the worth of another. This would be a good way to
Yeah.
explain it.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say, and I don't know if other humans, well, I'm sure there are other humans, but I would say throughout a large part of my life, um, maybe because of the way we grew up, Robin, with parents that were hardworking, and um, my identity was very much tied to being able to be productive or to
Yeah.
be hardworking, and found it very difficult to just think that you could literally just be doing nothing and loved just for that. And so I had an attachment, or, like, I need to be doing this or I need to be doing that
Mhm.
to feel like I am worthy of, whatever.
Yes.
So, and I'm sure that's a common issue in judgment too, because if you're someone like that and then you see somebody who's doing nothing, you kind of think, well, how are they getting away with doing nothing when I'm trying to do all this stuff?
Yes. Yes.
So,
And we would tell you, yes, that more than thinking that another would love you because of what it is you put out, as far as you are saying in work, it's more about you loving yourself. It's more about you feeling worthy as you do these things. And it isn't necessarily a negative if you are a hard worker and it is something that makes you feel like your heart sings. Yes, Robin loves a good day's hard work. It makes her feel good inside. Yes, when she has accomplished a lot or cleaned her whole house, done her yard, taking care of her grandchildren, and then clean herself up at the end of the day on top of it. She feels as though that is a good day for her. Yes. And so really what you are doing is you are wanting to do the things that make you feel good and to not be in judgment of them or comparing them to another in order to it is exactly what we spoke about, to balance or to see whether the value that you hold is equal to the value that someone else's
right,
hold that is not doing it. You see, do
right.
things because they are for you. Do things
Yeah,
because you enjoy them, and then let those that do what they do what they do.
right.
You
Right.
see,
Because, the other side of the coin is that I wouldn't feel good being in that other role.
you would
So I
not.
know, I know that it's not for me, so I get that. Yeah.
But at the same time, yes, the ones that are maybe working up to par or doing things perhaps the way that you would do them, they may not have that capability or that
Right.
may not be their focus. And it may not
Right.
be a lazy mentality. It may be a learned mentality or a life experience or ancestral thing. So this is where we want you to come into your compassion. And compassion really is seeing something and then allowing it, just allowing it to be what it is and not having to judge it or make it different or measure it up to another standard to see whether it is worthy or not. You see,
Right.
this is what compassion is. We are kind of glad that you brought this up, because in order for you to move without judgment, you must really engage compassion. You must engage this understanding that each individual sovereign being, even your children, make no mistake about it, they are yours this round, but there have been many other rounds, you see.
Mhm. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, I think this has been informative. I hope everyone has enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Um, we are always open to questions. As I say each time, email me, Heidi at athenaintruth.com, with any questions you'd like to have on air. We can ask them. You could join the show. Athena, is there any closing statements that you'd like to give anybody?
Uh, we would just like to say in closing, live the life that you have, live it in sovereignty. Do your best to not judge another or to influence someone into doing things the way that you do them. Even your own children, you see, have come here as sovereign beings. You've provided them with a nice vehicle and a nice home, and it is a good start. We are not minimizing it, yes. But sometimes parents will get a little disappointed because a child will reach, we would say roughly the age of 25, sometimes as late as 30, but usually by 25, they start to think, oh, is that my child at all? I did not have that interest. I did not do that. I did not live that way. Yes. And then the parent oftentimes will start going down the judgment road and wonder how it is that they have this child that they have, you see. You have delivered a sovereign being to the earth plane through the vehicle that is you, you see. That's all you've done. You've offered a good foundation. And this is also in a roundabout way, wrapping up the question that was given about the man that murdered his wife and children, is this is what you have done, you see. The two of you in your lineage and in your mating together have created a vehicle for this being to enter, but that being was a sovereign being that has lived many lives and has many lineages that is attached to it, that is coming through you as the vessel or the vehicle that you are, you see. And so can never totally 100% claim all of their actions or the ways that they are going to live as being governed by you, you see.
Yes.
Can never
Yes.
be.
Yes. Well, thank you so much. It was informative as always, and we'll look forward to doing this again next week.
Thank you, Heidi. We appreciate it with all of our heart. Yes.
Thank you.